When we did the Ogledi deal, instead of, whereas JWT was 525 million and it was half debt, half equity, and then we had the good fortune on the property so we could pay down the debt immediately. With Ogledi, it was 850 million, and half of it was debt, and half of it was what was called then, and still is called, a convertible preferred. And what I forgot, the big mistake I made, was that a convertible preferred in a recession is a preferred, whereas in boom times or bull times, it's a convertible, it's equity. And what happened was, after we acquired Ogledi in '89, markets turned down, world economy turned down, and we had a recession. And so the preferred, or the preferred part of the convertible preferred, kicked in. And in those days we were paying, I think it was 6.5%, which grossed up because you couldn't get a deduction for it. So it was costing us about 13%, which in today's terms is enormous. When you think that we just did a 30-year bond for WPP at 5.18% gross, so 3% net after tax, and we were paying effectively 12 or 13% for that, at different times obviously, for that convertible, that really sort of crushed us. So the mistake I made was, and I always remember when we did the convertible preferred by means of a rights issue. So unlike Thomson, where if you were a WPP shareholder, you got the offer of one share for every share you hold to fund that. What you got here was, for every whatever shares you had, you got these 6.5% convertible preferreds. The attraction of a convertible preferred is that the conversion takes place at an equity price above the current market price. So in theory, you issue less equity because you have a debt element to it. But of course, if the markets are not growing or increasing, or we're not in a bull market, it goes below the conversion price, and the debt element kicks in. So that was the big mistake. And in the recession, the convertible preferred became very difficult for us to manage. And I always remember when we did that convertible preferred rights issue, it was one of the lead fund managers at the Prudential who said, "Martin, you can always you don't have to do a convertible preferred. It's a false economy because of the premium in the conversion price. You should always be able to do the same thing with a straight equity instrument." And by the way, he was right, because when I looked at the restructuring we did and what we had to give to the banks in order to restructure the company, if we'd done just the full equity issue instead of a convertible preferred issue with a premium in it, we would have been actually better off than the ultimate. So that's one thing I'd admit to. Every day you make mistakes, every day. And the trick, if there is a trick, is just to make sure that you make more right decisions than wrong decisions. I mean, somebody said to me today, a journalist said, describe yourself in 3 words was the thing. So I said persistence and speed, because when you get a knighthood, you have to go down to the College of Heraldry and you get a motto together. So I tried it, and that's the motto: persistence and speed. So I don't think you have to be a rocket scientist in our business. I don't think you have to be a rocket scientist in an Einstein in business generally. I think you have to be very persistent. I think you have to have a very strong vision about what you want to do. There's an academic argument in business schools about whether strategy is more important than tactics, and I think the answer is both are important. If you want to sort of talk about the government, the coalition government, I think tactically they do some interesting things and the right things, but it seems to me they don't have a great strategic vision. Still haven't. And if you're asking people, to accept austerity as they are today, and the Chancellor says it's going to be 2018 before things are going to improve, you have to get people focused on the horizon, not looking at their shoes all the time. And strategy is terribly important. So I think having a clear strategy and then being very persistent with it, and then being quick. Because I had a terrible quote many years ago, which was a bad decision on Monday is better than a good decision on Friday. And by that I meant giving people instant responses. And if people don't respond to you and don't make a decision, it's because they don't know the answer, or they're frightened of the answer. And in our business, you have to be quick. And I mean, forget about all the speed that is necessitated by technology and changes in technology and Moore's law putting more and more pressure on everybody all the time. I'm just saying you have to be very, very, what bedevils big companies is failure to move quickly, inaction. One of our people I was speaking to last week, and he's fed up because there's a lot of inaction, and so being quick and speedy. So a fast decision, I think, is increasingly necessary. And what bedevils big companies, and we see it with clients, is that lack. But that's the only one I'd admit to.